She like me, I kinda dig it, so I did my thing for her. She joining with me, now we getting groovy, hotter than jacuzzi. So shorty, won't you slow it down? See them other fellas, and I ain't hating. They try to do it like me, it ain't the same. Front to back, shorty, side to side, and lean with you with a soldier now. Cause you're so fly, girl. You should come to my crib, yeah. But he gon' flip on no. You know I'm tripping with you. Should be my girl. You should be my girl.
Hey, 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 it's your girl Nay coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's talk about it. Hey, y'all. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great day thus far. Hope your day is off to a great start. Hope your month has been well. It is Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May. I got my girl Alahna here to have this dialogue with me. How you doing tonight, Lena?
I'm good. How y'all doing out there?
Hope everybody's good. I'm good. I'm great. A little bit. I'm working on really feeling like that because you feel good? Do you feel good? Are you struggling this week? Like, what has your week been like?
My week?
Yes, ma'am.
My week has been crazy. I feel great. I'm great. It's just the work that I do is real strenuous and tedious right now. So I'm just dealing with a lot work wise, but other than that, like life is good. I can't complain. Just trying to stay above water.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm definitely glad to hear that. I titled today's conversation Black Girl Magic because we about to have and give them some of that Black girl magic. And this episode is definitely dedicated to my ladies. Mental Health Awareness Month is very important to me. Number one, because I'm a therapist. Number two, because it's important. Taking care of yourself should be the number one priority on everybody's list. Before being, and I'm just use us as an example because we're about to talk about the women tonight. Before being a wife, before being a mother, before being whatever profession that you're in, before being a daughter, before being a sister, friend, cousin, auntie, all that stuff. You got to be the best you because how can you be anything for anybody else if you're not? And I feel like we as women sometimes, more times, put us on the back to be there and be available for everybody else. But who's taking care of us? And that's pretty much going to be a big chunk of the conversation that I'm having with you. More so because you are a professional woman. I've told you many times before, and I've shared with the people as well. I think you're one of the hardest working women in the 941. You do it all. You got your hand in a lot of pots. But on top of that, you wear a lot of hats in your personal life as well. So we're definitely going to talk about that, corporate America a little bit, and just the experience of being an African American woman in its totality. That's what we're talking about today. That Black girl magic. Straight off the gate though, before we get started, we're not gonna take no shot tonight. But I do want to give a shout out to whatever it is that what do you want to salute tonight? What do you want to shout out? How you feeling? What we saluting tonight?
Balance.
I like it.
Balance. I want to just shout out people that are able to find a middle ground and just balance. So
balance. That's the one.
Balance and being balanced. So yeah.
Very good. Very good. I like it. We're gonna skip the excuse me come again questions tonight, just so we can go ahead and get into this dialogue. We did have a little bit of a late start, so I just want to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk
Straight
about
out
it.
the gate. As a woman, and let's start with corporate America. You're in corporate America. I'm in corporate America, but we black and we're women. What does that feel like for you? If you have to put it into a feeling and describe to someone, and they said, "What's it feel like being a black woman in corporate America?" What would you say?
Um, I'm trying to see how to word it because before I would have been like, it feels hard. It feels like I always have to jump through hurdles. Um, but if I can be honest, when I unseparated myself from being a black woman in America and just said I'm just gonna be Alahna in the industry that I'm in, I found that I am more positive. I get more stuff done, and I when I stop taking myself apart from that, I feel like I'm stronger and I'm just me in corporate America, if you will. So I'm not, and that's not to say that it's not harder or there are no, blurred color lines there. It's just to say that when I just stop focusing about being a black woman in corporate America and just said, I'm just going to be me and just do what I need to do, I feel that I don't even think about it no more. So I guess it feel great because ain't none of them doing more than what I'm doing. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing. I guess in one aspect, I feel like that's kind of what we have to do to dissect it and feel okay. But we
Mhm.
definitely can't get away from the reality of we feel like we here, we belong. This is, I'm me. But
Right.
it's not like that. Our counterparts and higher ups, it's definitely viewed as something different. It's definitely is something that is set apart. And it's
Absolutely.
a conversation that people are starting to have more of these days, and I'm happy that we're doing this. But it just looks a little different in the workplace for us than it does other people. I was having this conversation with one of my good girlfriends, and she had said that this came up in her workplace, and she was challenged by someone of another persuasion of where did the idea of differences in the workplace come from? You guys are making this up. Nobody has ever said this directly. No one has ever, and it's that type of dialogue that causes a rift
Hmm.
because it's not being acknowledged. And not to say by everyone. Of course, there are people that can clearly see, but there's other people that are truly oblivious to it because it's not their life. Um, for you, when you think about just your role, have you ever, and I know you like now you've kind of stepped into who you are, and I'm just going to be me and do what I need to do. But before this space, have you ever had that feeling of, how our parents used to teach us growing up? You got to be twice as good. You got to work twice as hard. You got to make yourself stand out because they're not just going to see you. Have you ever like actually felt that way in corporate America?
Um, Only because here's the thing, and I don't know how this gonna come out. I found that I've only felt that way is because the first part of being different, the first part, I and I think in a lot of homes, I first learned that I was different as a black woman, not from a white person, but from my black parents and black, like I didn't know that I had to work twice as hard until my mom or my dad told me, because you black, you got to work twice as hard. But in the workplace, although I know that it's there, I've never had to experience that twice as hard because I'm black, if that makes sense.
It does,
So
and
I've
that's
been
a
working twice as hard. But prior to this, I've been working twice as hard because my grandmas and my uncles, you got to get ahead of the white man. You got to be hard. You got to be and not to say without those lessons, maybe I would have had to run in to some of those things. And so I think that it was in my mind that, yeah, Elena, just because every day you go home and you remind it, you black girl, don't girl, you black, you can't be doing that what them folks be doing, girl, you black. And so that may have been true, but I've never had to experience that from my white counterparts. That always came from home first. So I don't know what's the therapeutic word for it, if there is one, but I kind of was set up to believe that and have that feeling projected on me before I even experienced it in that
And that
manner, if that makes sense.
it does make a lot of sense, and that's very powerful because I tell people this all the time. It really don't matter what you have going on in life. Most of your first teachings come from home. Like you learn from home, and then you go out into the world, and you get the rest of the percentage of life's lessons, right? But
Right.
that's amazing that and I'm actually very happy for you that you've never had that experience. Because, girl,
And don't get me wrong, when I say never had that, I don't mean like I ain't wait a minute. When I say never had it, I've never like, felt like I never, you know, dealt with real in my face racism, but not because I had to work for, she just don't like black women and she don't like that the position that I'm in works. So she make my job harder, a counterpart. But
mm,
as far as the system of the job that I was in, I didn't have bosses that didn't let me get a raise or move up in the company. I never had that. It was more so colleagues that didn't understand because I was black, maybe why they didn't get this position or why they didn't get that, but it wasn't. And their thought process and projection of why the black girl shouldn't move forward or have this never stopped the company from being like, no, you can't do that because we have Joanne here who's more certified, more this, and this. So I have experience in the workplace and felt that I needed to work hard. And so because that stuff was projected on me, although the company was still putting me up and raising, I still felt because of what my mom said, I need to do more because Joanne may be coming to get my spot. But my spot was never really threatened. But because of who Joanne was and what my parents teach me, I felt like the whole company institution was maybe going to do something, but it really never came.
and that's a
If that makes
very different outlook on it, and one to be, it's kind of refreshing and can be appreciated because that's not everybody's experience. Um,
sense.
when I think about just being who I am and being open and free to who I am, it's not until like recently that I've been like I would never wore my natural hair in its natural state to work because I've been questioned about it in the past. It doesn't look that's not professional. Or why do you wear your hair like that? Or been told and to my face by, people that I've worked with, like, you know, can we shorten your name? Like as a kid and as in school and stuff, people give you nicknames or whatever. Parents,
Mm-hmm.
family give you nicknames, but for someone to tell you that they want to give you a nickname in a professional setting because your name is not professional, like what?
That's
But
inappropriate.
it's my
Absolutely.
name. Like, what do you mean? No, you can't shorten my name. No, you can't call me something else. This is my name, or
Yeah.
refusing to put a title on your name because they just feel like they don't have to. And I never forget, one of my really good friends is a detective, and she will quickly tell you it's detective such and such. Don't call me by my first name.
I know,
Don't
right?
call me. You know what I'm saying? It's like give me my
Right. Yeah.
respect, but they feel like they don't have to. And again, it's not everybody, but just slight things like that go unrecognized as what people mean when they say you can't do what everybody else do. Susie can come in with a slight bun, but when I come in with a big puff, it's a problem. Or
Right. Right. Yep.
and
Yep.
and
Yep.
it just, those feelings kind of add to kind of like what you said, where you're stems from home and now you act a certain way. When you get that actually in your face at work, it make you kind of stifle who you are or feel like you can't be yourself. Or I found myself lowering my tone or changing the way that I would approach a situation because feeling like, oh, they're not gonna think that's professional, or they may be offended, or they may feel like I'm being aggressive. And it's really sad that it's like that. Not feeling comfortable to just be completely and authentically who you are because it won't be accepted as professional.
Right. Right.
And
I
even
get
if
that.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying no. I absolutely get that, and I agree.
And to take
But
it a
most
step
of the time,
further, oh, sorry,
no, no, no. You go ahead. You go ahead.
girl. I don't know if it's like a delay, but I wait. If it's something I'm gonna talk. Oh no, she talking. But yeah, Um, just to take it a step further, I mean, that really plays into needing to take care of self as well, because I feel like we as women have to not only stifle who we are or suppress who we are in the workplace, but it happens in our roles in the family, with certain groups of friends, how we present to just anybody, where we feel like a lot of times we can't be, fully and authentically who we are. And what is it going to take to realize, or what is it going to take to understand that it's okay to be a little loud if that's who you are. It's okay to be expressive with your hair. It's okay to be expressive with your nails. It's okay to talk with your hands and be lively if that's who you are. You shouldn't have to feel like you have to stifle that because people find it offensive or feel like you too much, you over the top. Maybe I
Right.
am. That works for me. Um, mm. What does it take for you to get to a place where you are your best self? What does taking care of Elena look like?
I'm just finding that out because I didn't know until recently. um, I wouldn't call it a yes girl, but I've always been like a person that don't like to hurt people feelings. Like, oh no, I'm just not going. I don't want to say no because that's gonna hurt their feelings, or no, I see the best in them. I'll sacrifice what I need to do because it helps this person be better. And so self care for me these days looks like doing what's best for Elena in all aspects. If it don't sit and fit with me, and especially with the last month or two, like if it does not progress where I'm going, and I'm not just talking about as far as, monetary or anything. If it does not progress me as a person or my family, then I'm not wasting any more time with it. And lately, a couple, people think that's a little harsh. You get people who she thinks but it really, that's my self care, because I found out that is what has literally been hindering my progression for the longest. Is just the inability to say no, I'm not doing that. That's not good for me at this time. It's no love lost, but I'm moving on. And even a step further, because I had started doing that, but even a step further of just saying no, and I don't have to give you an explanation. No, I don't want to. I don't have to explain. I'm just not. That's just not where I'm at this time. And I'm sorry that it don't fit where you need me to fit in at. So self care for me looks like no, for real,
Okay.
and
And you
being
said
okay to sit in those type of things.
something that just recently came about for you.
Yeah. Yep. Because like I say, I'm a people pleaser to an extent. Like I ain't never been like a yes person, get walked all over, but I take on a lot of things, and what happens, I end up not helping anybody because I don't say yes to 30 different things, but I'm only one person. So being able to like say no for the betterment of myself, which allows me to be a better person, to be in a position to help people, I've learned to do that. And so that's what self-care these days look like for me. Just not overextending myself in things that don't grow.
Okay. And I know you've got some things that you need to handle, and you're just going to stick around for the beginning part of the show. But before I let you go, I want you to speak to. There's a saying, and I'm not going to lie and act like I know exactly where it came from because I can't remember right now. But it talks about the black woman being the most unappreciated and the most not protected and abused and neglected person in America. Can you agree with that? Do you feel like there's some truth to that? Do you feel like we as women are not taken care of as we should be?
I agree to that, but not in the sense of where it has derived from. I found that that saying has only been used, and it really shows the whole dynamic of the situation. A lot of black women, the most black unappreciated woman is the black woman because this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. When really, if we take that saying, the black woman is the most underappreciated person because the lack of love and self care that she has to give herself. And once I look into me and I say, Alahna, you feel unappreciated because you haven't set boundaries, because you haven't done this and this. And then that way, once a Black woman love herself in that way, she don't have to feel used by Bob, Sam, Bill, kids, mama, daddy, sister, brother, because she has ultimately learned the ultimate love, which is that of yourself and God. And once you have figured those things out, there's no such, you're gonna treat people how to treat you. So yes, I do think and agree with that. Black women are the most underappreciated woman that there is. But I think just because she hasn't fully found the love she needs for herself, and when she figures that out, we're gonna be the most loved and appreciated woman that ever walked this earth, not only by ourselves but by everybody around us. And that's how I feel on that. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense. And again, a completely different perspective than what the normal reaction or normal response to that question is. So I definitely can appreciate the difference in how you view things, and that's very refreshing for sure, for sure. Um
Yeah, and again, like, and when I say stuff like this, because you'll get people like, I don't want to be tied in with those people. Like, she think racism don't exist. She think this don't exist. She think Black people not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when we first look at ourselves, and if you look inward and you display and know whom you belong to, and you really look into yourself, that other stuff is kind of obsolete. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because when you love yourself, you treat people how to treat you, and the rest don't matter. Think about this. You was talking about your bonnet. Now, our parents, Black people, girl, don't go outside with your head like that. That's the first people we learn nappiness from. So who's to say, imagine if these things were open and celebrated like they are, to wear your natural hair. If that started in the home where parents didn't care how you went to school, as long as you weren't looking rough and you wore your natural hair, that would have been enforced in our community, because people would just be starting wearing their hair. But your mama ain't sending you out to school looking nappy in any kind of way, so we don't even know, you know, that we think what they think. Oh, the job and the school think it's unprofessional, and it must be unprofessional because my mama just told me, girl, you better not walk out this house with your hair nappy. So it
right.
reinforces that kind of stuff, and I just think if we handle that within, then the whole world, you just got to be accepted, because again, that's unity from culture perspective. Our parents, like my kids, they go out and they wear their natural hair and stuff, and I wish a teacher would write me a note, because I'm going to reinforce, no, she going to wear how she want to. But before, our parents like, oh, you ain't going nowhere like that.
Right. Right.
You can't be we can't always be our authentic self with our parents. We're sometimes the first. Why are you talking like that? You got to be white to talk like that. But if we didn't hear this stuff, we would just be naturally ourselves in these environments, and there would be a whole culture of people just being themselves. And and the rule is majority always wins. So that's how we end up with people like, you get the cliques in the workplaces where it's like, oh, you're the Black girl, but you're not the real Black girl. What you mean?
Mhm.
I am the real Black girl, but you're just not used to seeing us in, you know what I'm saying, in our professional selves or our best selves, because we always been so timid to come out and be authentically who we are in the workplace. And now you ain't got no choice but accept, because now it's cool to be Black. So hello, how you doing? But it should have been cool. And so that's what
Right.
I'm saying. So I think everybody is validated in what they believe and what they say. Everybody's experiences are real. Racism is real. Self-hate is real. But I think I have just chosen to be like, to hell with that. And yeah. So
Very well put. Very well put. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming through for a moment to speak to this with me. Get to the rest of your Black girl magic of an evening. I know you got some things that you need to do.
yeah,
And
yeah, no problem. And I'm sorry that this got cut short, because I know we really wanted to get in some heavy, stuff about, like, mental health and getting over that hump. And I would love to share that part of it, based upon the stuff that we privately, talked about
mhm,
and stuff like that. So I would love to come back and discuss that.
for sure, we'll definitely get you back on here and get into it. We can definitely bring you back.
All right, love. Well,
All right.
thank you.
You have a great rest of your night.
You too. Bye.
So, if I might, let's my last guest that I had on last week, Miss Natasha, she dropped a little gem, and I'm gonna pick it up and run with it. She called it Therapy Thursday. So let's have a little bit of Therapy Thursday. I just want to still continue to speak to taking care of yourself. Again, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. My work actually sent out emails today to remind us that it was National Mental Health Action Day. What does that mean? Doing whatever it's going to take to feel good. And I have come from a place, anybody that knows me in my personal life and my personal journey, it's been a really tough last couple of years. And I've really stepped into myself in this last year and become a different person. And what that looks like was a lot of self inventory. What that looked like was a lot of putting myself first. Alahna said so beautifully, learning to say no, and why that's important and why that will help to fuel you forward to be your best self. Taking care of you and surrounding yourself with people that want to take care of you, people that want to see the best version of you, people that want to draw that out. We as women, just in general, and I know I spoke to her a lot about in a professional setting, but in life in general, we tend to stifle our happiness and stifle our comfortability and stifle who we truly are, and to be expressive and to be, completely unapologetically us, because we're wanting to not offend, we're wanting to cater, we're wanting to nurture different situations that maybe not are so nurturing to us. And I'm here today to tell you, we got to stop that. We got to get to a place where it's all about our smiles. It's all about our happiness, all about our freedom. It's all about our ability to get a good night's rest, because we're not stressed out. We're not feeling less than. We're not feeling depleted, exhausted, all these things with all the different hats that we wear, because we're pouring out, but we're also pouring in. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, first I want to get into wearing many different hats at one time. And Alahna said in the beginning, we're going to salute and big up to balance. Man, it is so important to have balance in your life. What does that look like? I know, as a woman, I don't have that many hats. So being able to juggle me has been enough, making sure that I was okay. But there are lots of women out there that struggle with balance because they're moms, because they're wives or girlfriends, because they are, bosses, or they have very demanding jobs. Trying to be that friend that people go to, trying to be, maybe you're a sister that has lots of responsibilities in your household or in your family. That daughter, you're taking care of a sick parent, grandparent, whatever the case may be. We tend to stretch and pull ourselves in many different directions. But at the end of the day, we have to come to a place where we're able to kind of sit in the middle of all of that and not feel heavy on one side or the other, but having that balance. We talked a little bit about self-care, and Lena was saying, for her, it just looks like telling people no, but self-care, and why I mentioned National Mental Health Action Day, you have to do something. I was just having this conversation with one of my good girlfriends about the fact that situational depression can put you in a space where you're not motivated to do anything, right? And that will just pile and pile and pile. And before you know it, you're not even able to stand up. You can't do anything. So you have to actually put forth the work and pull yourself out of this space. You have to do something. There has to be an action that takes place. For me, I know what depression feels like, and I can be transparent in this moment to say I've been there many different times, situationally. And what that looked like was a fight with myself to feel better, doing stuff that made me happy, doing things that I was not motivated to do anymore, but knew that it was imperative, or else I was going to sit in this space and, I wouldn't make it through. I want to pose a question to you guys, ladies, because we talking to y'all. Fellas, we got y'all next week. But right now I'm talking to my ladies and all that we are in our Black Girl Magic. What are we doing to take care of ourselves? What are some guilty pleasures that we have? Things that make us happy, things that we can do um, to make us feel like brighter, brighter in general. Put a smile on your face. Um, we tend to, and again, when I speak, guys, I'm not talking about everybody. There's exceptions to every rule, but when I say we, I'm including me because I'm a woman, but the majority, I'm generalizing, but it's a big chunk of us that operate under these behaviors, you know. People will say that women are so emotional. They don't think logically, you know, they get caught up in feelings. And I can say there's some truth to that, right? But when you start to think emotionally or be caught in your feelings or have this moment of wanting to be expressive, I think there's a lot of passion behind that, right? So when you're passionate about your feelings and your emotions and things that are going on, how are we conveying that? How are we, as Elena put, showing people how to treat us? How are we making it known that we need to put us first? Are you doing it? And again, ladies, be honest with yourself. Sit and think, when is the last time I, number one, was in a situation where I allowed someone to mistreat me? And number two, what did I do about that? Did I voice that to them? Did I just get upset and shut down? Did I cry and scream and kick and yell and fight? What did that look like? And I'm asking that question, and I want some feedback in regards to that. And I'm gonna, speak for myself. In this last year, I can't think of a time that I allowed somebody to mistreat me because I made a point to say I'm not doing that anymore. Nope. Nay, in 2021, you are not allowing people to mistreat you. And I can say, good job to me that I have been sticking to that. But what does that look like? Be more vocal. Um, I was one of the ones that when someone would hurt my feelings or do something that I didn't appreciate, I wouldn't say anything. I would let it hurt my feelings and I would kind of just, in a sense of not wanting to offend anybody or not wanting to feel like I was being extra. Oh, I'm just so sensitive. And they probably didn't mean it like that. I started to think for them, right? I started to apologize for them and they weren't even sorry. But it's something that I had to figure out for myself that was wrong. Like, no, you can't give people a pass on that. If they hurt your feelings, you need to tell them that they hurt your feelings. There's no shutdown. There's no crying in the corner. There's no, because you let it go once, it'll happen again, and it'll happen again, and it'll happen again. And people learn that I can do these things to this person and it's acceptable. If it's not acceptable, we need to stop letting it be acceptable. Show people how they're supposed to treat you. That is one of the biggest forms of self care. You know how you feel. Other people cannot read your mind. So being in a place where you're able to let them know, hey, I don't like that. Hey, don't do that to me. It probably drives people crazy these days. The closest people to me and in my life, I appreciate y'all for having this dialogue with me all the time because I bring it to your attention all the time. Hey, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like how that conversation made me feel. I don't like when you did that. It made me feel X, Y, and Z. And let's talk about it. Let's have this dialogue because too many times my voice was not heard and I was closed off, but it was my own doing. So, one of the biggest things I want you guys to start to practice is showing people how to treat you, having those hard conversations, having that difficult conversation with people, and not caring if they feel like you're being too emotional. Because if you're an emotional person, you're an emotional person. Now, I'm not saying go yelling and pointing and screaming at people every time your feelings get hurt, but as adults, being able to have healthy communication, talking to people about the way that you feel and what they're doing to you, and watch how much more peace of mind you have in your, close relationships and even in your working relationships. That was another thing as a professional because I was dealing with all these other things that come along with being me. I didn't feel like I could voice the way that I felt at work. I didn't want to be the angry black woman. I didn't want to be the one causing all the problems, always having attitude. I didn't want to be the one, feeling like I was always the outcast because I was the black woman. So when things would go wrong and I knew that it had a lot to do with racial tension, I would just be quiet. I wouldn't say anything. I would just let it be what it be. You know what? I'm gonna just keep my head down, do what I need to do my job, and go home. But I'm uncomfortable in the workspace. But I don't feel free to express who I am. And as a therapist, you can't have that mindset. You have to be able to advocate for your clients. You have to be able to um, have people understand why what you're saying is important. You have to be able to convey different messages, and people have to understand that you mean business. You know what you're talking about. And if you're sitting in the corner with your head down, what are you getting accomplished? So I had to check myself on that. And that looks like that with all relationships. Of course, it's easier for me to do that with, you know, my family or my close friends than it was to do that at work. But I had to do it. I had to learn. I had to force myself into that uncomfortable space and make it happen for myself because no more of that. Another way of self-care and taking care of you outside of, showing people how to treat you, showing yourself how to treat yourself. Elena said this as well. Self-love, being okay with who you are, being okay with your personality, being okay with your quirks. This is a very hard thing to do, especially because we are so often told that who we are is not acceptable. Again, speaking for myself, because this is as told by Nay. So I'm going to give it to y'all, and I feel comfortable to give it to y'all. Let's talk about it. When I think about who I am and things that I have struggled with, it definitely comes from other people telling me that it was not acceptable. Prime example, I mentioned about my hair. It took me a long time to embrace my natural hair because it was so often told to me as not cute. How you gonna tell me my hair is not cute? I grew this out of my head. What do you want me to do with it? You know? And it really took for me to be like, no, your curls are cute. You actually like this. It's okay. And if nobody else don't like it, you like it. And that's good. Getting to that space was very tough for me. Another thing, my size. I struggled with that a lot growing up. All of my family members and close friends were very thin. I've always been a chubby kid. And so growing up, it was really hard for me to embrace who I was in that regard. Now, let's not push it. I never thought that I was ugly or unattractive, but I didn't like my size. It made me uncomfortable. I didn't like to be in certain settings. And anybody that knows me knows that I am very in your face. I like to sing, I like to dance, I like to act, I like to, I do spoken word. I'm a very artsy person. And it was often portrayed that plus size people did not belong in the spotlight. And that's something that I had to battle and get over and push myself to embrace me. What did that look like? Doing it, saying, forget what people are saying, do that audition, you know, try out for that team, make that video. And I began to love who I was, and I was okay with me. And one of the other things that come along with that is just learning self and understanding that it is about the healthy aspect of it, not really about what you look like, but what you feel like. And I think once I started to really hone in on taking care of me inside and out, I started to, do what I needed to do with myself, and things started to fall into the right places. And I was like, okay, now it's a little different, and now it's more acceptable. And now people are, it's my confidence, it's my swag. I make people embrace who I am and what I have to offer because I embrace who I am and what I have to offer. And it became something that was acceptable. First of all, the media began to make it acceptable, and that started the wave. But I'm glad that I had moved into a space where it was acceptable for me before that, so that I could really own it. And yeah, self-love. You got to love on yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. I mean, I'm sure there are other people like your mom, your dad, your family, and then sometimes not even them. So At the end of the day, you know you can love you. So love you. Embrace all that you are. And something that my mom used to always tell me, if you don't like it, change it. And that's something that I had to take into account as well. You want different? You want things to fall differently? Okay, go to the gym. Eat differently. You don't like it, fix it. And that is all in taking care of yourself and loving yourself as well. Loving yourself to make the change that you want to see. Do the things that are going to make you feel better. So, really loving on yourself and getting away from the negativity that is yourself. We are our biggest critics. Um, and we got to get away from that. We more so tear ourselves down before other people do, and we got to stop that. Another way we take care of ourselves is physically taking care of ourselves, doing things. I said that, taking those trips, going and getting those massages, having those spa days. You know, I had Tasha on here last week, and she was talking about being pampered as a woman. We have to take care of ourselves, guys. We have to feel good, and that goes deeper than, it's all well and good to say you gotta feel good inside. Well, you gotta feel good. I feel good on the outside when I look good on the outside. When I go get my hair done, when I go get my nails done, when I go get my eyebrows done, and put on a little lip gloss, me buy a nice dress. That makes me feel good. I can be sad and I will go and get dressed up to really go nowhere. And I will feel good. Take care of yourself. Take yourself on a date. Go and sit by the water and listen to some music. Journal. That's a great form of self-care and a great way to get to know yourself. I remember in college, as I was working to, be this great therapist that I am, and I realized I don't know myself. I know the basics, like what I like to do, what I like to eat. I know where I came from, where I grew up, all those great things, but who are you? And I'll challenge all of you to ask yourselves that and really answer, who are you inside? How do you think? How do you process life? What is your interpretation of the world? Ask yourself these questions and then answer them and figure out who you are. It's a lot of grown people that don't know who they are. And it's crazy. You've been with yourself for however many years and you don't know you. Get to know yourself. That is a great form of self-care. Journaling. Went on a little bit of a tangent there, but that's what I was getting at. So not knowing myself looked like I need to journal. Let me get in touch with my thoughts. Let me see how I see the world. Let me see how I interpret, different things. And I would just write. My journaling started as just writing random thoughts just to get myself into it. And then I started to really listen to what I was thinking about, really paying attention to the way that, different things affected me, how my emotions um, showed in different scenarios, and really figuring out how I, processed my life. It looks a lot differently when you really pay attention to the way that you feel. The life experience is more than just existing. You have to actually live. You have to actually feel. You have to actually experience. And I want to challenge everybody to do that. Great way to take care of yourself. And the last thing is being able to take off some of those hats. We as women, like I said, we stretch ourselves in all these different places. And we're trying to be there for so many different people. You know that saying where people will say, you got to check on your strong friend. I know so many women that are the strong friend. And it's because their moms and their friends and their um, partners and all these different hats that they wear. And then they do all of these same things at work and come home and they're just like, what's next? Always on go, right? Constant. It's okay to take some of those hats off sometimes. You don't have to wear all of them at the same time, all the time. I have learned to compartmentalize. Now, when I originally heard that word, it was given as a negative thing. You shouldn't compartmentalize. You should be able to, you know, not tuck things away and just kind of deal with everything as it comes. Not me. Doesn't work for me. I have to take off some of those hats. I can't do it all at once. When I'm A therapist, I have to have my therapist hat on. When I'm a friend, I have to have my friend hat on. I can't do both because then it's going to start to blur some lines in some places and in some things that don't need to happen. When I have my friend hat on, I can't have my daughter hat on, like being able to balance family relationships versus friend relationships. And sometimes it can be the same thing. I can't be at work who I am at home to a certain extent, because we definitely just talked about that. Still being able to be authentically me, but everybody should get different versions of you. You should be able to balance out who you are and spread it out and be what each area of your life needs, because sometimes when you blur those lines, it just adds to your stress for no reason. It adds to that overwhelming feeling for no reason. We have to get to a place where we know that it's okay to not be all of these things at once all of the time. Do some of them overlap? Of course. Do some of them, it's necessary for them to be at the same time? Sure. You know, but getting to a place where you're okay with it not happening that way all the time. It's okay to tell your friends, I can't. It's okay to tell your husband you can't. It's okay to tell your kids you can't. Because if you're at a place where you just physically can't, you just emotionally can't force it. You got to get back to the comfortability that you can give. We as women, we give and we give and we give. And a lot of us are lucky to have people in our lives that pour back into us. I'm very blessed in that way. My personal life um, is very solid. It's very solid. So when I look at, my professional life versus associates and versus my personal professional life, because it's two different ones. Nay, the brand is completely different from Jean A. Milton that works in corporate America. Being able to have my supportive friends and my supportive family and my supportive partner, like, life looks different for me. Life looks very different for me, and I'm blessed because I know a lot of women don't have that. They give and they give and they give and they give and they give, and there's nobody to give back to them. So shout out to my team. Shout out to Team Nay. Y'all treat your girl good, and I definitely appreciate that for sure, because that is a big piece of self care as well. Having the right people in your life, having solid foundation, having an understanding of what your strength looks like that's outside of you. Understand, everybody in your life is not a support system. Everybody that you may call a friend is not a friend. Everyone that is blood related, not necessarily you have to interact with them. I know people, I'm quick to tell them, just because that's family, that don't mean you have to interact. That don't mean they have to be a part of your life. Y'all are connected by blood, and that's it. If they are damaging to your self esteem, to your growth as a person, to you feeling your best self, cut them loose, family included, friends that you've known for years, toxic relationships, all of those things. We have to get to a place where that is not the expectation. We can't let that be the expectation. I was having a conversation with one of my teen girls because I mentor, I'm sorry. And she was saying to me how, I asked her, what does it mean to be a woman? And this definitely speaks to what Alahna was just saying as well, where we get that mindset of what it's supposed to be from, how we're raised. And I asked her, what does it mean to be a woman? And she legit told me, we're supposed to take care of everybody. Well, can you explain what you mean by that? We're supposed to take care of the kids. We're supposed to take care of the husband. We're supposed to, work and be effective at our jobs. We're supposed to, make sure that our friends know that we love them. And whoa, that's what it means to be a woman? Where'd that come from? Images put in people's head. Images taught to us since we little, giving us what we think life is supposed to be like. So I want to tell you guys, make that up for yourself. Figure out what works for you. What it means to be a woman for you may look different than what it meant to be a woman for your mother, for your grandmother, for your sister, for your cousin, for your aunt. And that starts with figuring out how to take care of yourself. Let me love on me. Let me take care of me. And let me figure out how I interpret life. And then I can be this woman for my husband, for my children, for my family, for my friends. It starts with you. A lot of women feel less than. And I just want to be very encouraging in these last moments before I get out of here to tell you guys that life happens, right? Most times we don't have control over the things that go on in our life. When I say life happens, situation. Um, we're forced to kind of take things in stride and keep moving. And that's okay because life goes on. But how are you feeling about how life is going on? I need everybody that's tuned in, all my ladies, pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention to your body. Your body will tell you when it's time for some self care. Your body will tell you when you are frustrated to no end and you need to dial it back a little bit. Your body will tell you when you're physically exhausted and you need to take a break. Pay attention to you. You can't be more for other people than you are for yourselves. And I know I keep saying that. And I might just be reminding myself because once upon a time I was hurt. And I know there's so many other women that can relate to that. Just getting to that place where you feel like you have to be everything for everyone else and you're not being anything for you. Stop it. Easier said than done, yes, but it's imperative for your health. So, in this, we got a couple of days left in May. I want you to actually pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention to, the thoughts that are going through your head, the dreams that you're having, your reactions to different situations, and dial it back. Tell people to give you a minute. Let me think about this thing. Let me figure out what this means for me. Let me see how I actually want to handle this. It's okay. It's okay to pump the brakes on being, everything for everybody else while you figure out who you need to be for you. Um, Black Girl Magic, we are amazing, you know. And I asked Alahna a very important question about, the saying of the black woman is, very unappreciated, the most unappreciated and the most neglected. And she said something very important and it sticks with me. And I want to challenge you guys to kind of embrace that aspect and that perspective. Are we allowing that to ring true? Are we allowing people to not protect us and not, you know, hold us at a value that we deserve? Can we take some of the blame of that? And I want you to look at your personal life in regards to that and figure out if that's real for you. And then on top of that, figure out what needs to change so that that's not the case. What do we need to do to make people understand what I give is what I need to receive in return? It's give and take. Take. Life and the experience of the human connection, give and take. We have to get to a place where we understand that. And as much as we give, we're getting in return. You deserve it. You're worth it. Right now, I want you to get up, go look in the mirror, tell yourself you're beautiful, tell yourself you're worth it, tell yourself you're strong, tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to feel good in this moment and really believe that because you are. All right, very good. I'm going to leave that where it's at. And again, I want to just encourage my women to take care of themselves for the remainder of this month and the remainder of your lives. Mental health awareness looks like taking care of you. Yes, be there for your family and your friends, but be there for you first. Show up for you. Love you. Put you first. And get a therapist. I'm going to say it after every show because it's important. Um, I want to break that stigma and that taboo within the African American community that it's a bad thing to have a therapist. It's a bad thing to seek help. It's a bad thing to say, hey, I'm struggling. It's not. You got to take care of yourself. Everybody in your life that loves you needs you to take care of yourself. So take care of yourself. I need you to take care of yourself. I want y'all to be okay. I don't want y'all to be out here like me a couple years ago, about to lose your mind and just give up on everything. Don't let life get you to that space. Get you a therapist, get you a good gym membership, get you surrounded by some people that's going to love on you and pour into you. Get some God in your life, pray that thing out, and be the best version of self that you can be. And I'm gonna stop preaching to y'all. Again, next week I'm going to holler at the fellas in regards to taking care of yourself. That black boy joy. We talked about black girl magic today. I want to talk about black boy joy on next week, and we'll have that dialogue because hey, I need us all to be okay. I need us all to survive. Right now, life is really a lot. Okay? So I need everybody to be okay. Get your mental together and check yourself and make sure that you are in a good, healthy mind space. With that being said, I'm going to see y'all later, right back here next week. Another conversation on As Told by Nay, the podcast. Let's talk about it.